prepared yet.
You need to try and pick off the units as... Look at the shields on the mark.
Oh my god, the ball is going to take him.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Metalopolis right here when I bring you Mouse Sports Mana in the blue trunks. He is playing Protoss right here to the east versus his opponent, the one and only White Ra. He is in the red trunks and he is also playing Protoss to the north.
And 4-gate is still very viable on pretty much every map. It's just very hard to execute sometimes because of the radius has been nerfed on that pylon. Therefore, you have to build the pylon almost touching the wall of your opponent's base. Therefore, it's a lot easier to defend as you can target down the probe, target down the pylon. And on top of that, White Ra is the king of defending 4-gate. Has been known for that for a very long time. So if Mana does decide to 4-gate in this game, he will be facing an uphill battle because it's White Ra. He's just so good.
Yes, indeed, he is, and that is a real problem. We'll find out. White Ra is extremely, I have to add, extremely good at defending against 4-gates, as you said. And that said, however, Mana's 4-gate is very, very strong, and it's such a razor-edged matchup between these two, if I'm totally honest, that it's so hard to call. Can White Ra defend it? Maybe, maybe not. It is that close, and it will be down to simple errors. That's what's going to change the face of this game. And you'll notice that the gateway is going down slightly later right here for White Ra.
That's because he sent out this probe here a little bit earlier on 9, scouting after that pylon. We'll scout obviously earlier, get the information earlier. But Mana does have a slight economic advantage now. He's going to be doing everything just a little bit faster. And taking a bit of damage there.
You need to get out of there immediately, yeah. And it's funny, actually, because White Ra hasn't scouted the gas timing yet. He doesn't know which gas is down. Admittedly, he has to assume. Yeah. And surely he's not going to lose this probe.
I don't know, the shields might regenerate.
If he turns around, oh dear. Well, that's not a good start for White Ra. That's actually an uncharacteristic slip right there. Yeah,
especially because he scouted so early. He's going to be a little bit behind and now losing that probe already. So he's basically one probe behind. Not so good, but nevertheless, he can continue so strong that to see how we'll do in this game. And do we have that? Yeah, we have everything going down now, just a little bit faster for Mana. And he has that probe and can scout around, can harass with it. And it looks like Duckload, or White Ra, should I say, is having to send out another scouting probe now because he lost that one so early.
Yeah, and as the popular stalker-based band Blink-182 said, it is all about the small things. So bear that one in mind. Even those little errors at the start of the game can add up.
Indeed, and we're at 66 chrono boost now for Mana, who saved up one more rather than White Ra, who had to use one more to get back in there a little bit. And this could be, once again, a 4-gate. He scouts the second gas now. White Ra knows that something is up, something is different. There is no second gas compared to his build. So we'll have to see how he will do this. And like I said, he is the king of defending against 4-gates. So
the question is, how is he going to pull it off? Will it be a fast robotics, or is it going to be a 4-gate of his own, a defensive 4-gate? We will find out. Could be the Blink Stalker approach. But as we've seen, the Blink Stalker approach with this timing probably not going to work. A second gas is coming down for Mana. This is an interesting variation, and we'll have to see what he decides to do here. It will. I mean, it could still be a 4-gate way with the second gas. It can either be a fake or it can be the Sentry variant, which is a 4-gate way, heavier on the Sentry count, less so on the Stalkers.
And that probe is
not going to die by the looks of it. It's all very, very close. It's on 4 HP, and Mana wants it. He wants it. He wants it. He must have it. There you go. He takes it.
He does indeed. And White Ra has no idea what's going on. Hasn't properly scouted. He knows that there's units in the middle of the map, so he might be a little bit scared. And what do we have in Mana space? We have 2 gateways going down.
Yep, he's not going for the fourth gate by the looks of it. He's actually going to go 3-gate robo right here.
Ooh, nice. And White Ra is going to be scouting around looking for that pylon. Sees the probe there, sees a pylon too. This is just a bit of pressure from Mana here, making White Ra cut corners, cut probes.
Yeah, well, he thinks that he thinks his opponent's 4-gating. It's as simple as that. And as a direct result of that, White Ra is defending aggressively and should be able to do just that. He will throw that. No, he won't. Oh, maybe he will. Never mind. He's like almost threw it away. The pylon is up. Now, I have to wonder if any pressure is going to really come from that, though. White Ra's gone heavy into sentries right here to try and wall off against this. Mana has just warped in 2 there. Although White Ra may not have noticed. There are 4 Stalkers going up the ramp. That's a good split right there. If he takes down that one, he's going to be able to rain down some damage. He loses the Stalker in the process. And needless to say, Mana is not going to just sit around getting shot at.
Yeah, and under a bit of pressure here, White Ra forgets to turn his gateway into a warp gate, so that 3rd warp gate is a little bit delayed. Meanwhile, we do have an observer being made, for mana here, and we'll be able to switch into that Immortal, can even go up to Robotics Bay very shortly, and has quite a commanding lead in this game. 42 supply, a little bit supply blocked unfortunately, but is ahead basically by tech.
Yeah, good micromanagement there by Mana, ensuring that he does not lose that Stalker. He didn't want to do that at all. Good placement of the pylon, and the pressure from Mana seems to be easing off right now, as there is a pylon down the bottom right here for White Ra, trying to apply a little bit of pressure of his own.
Yeah, that's really smart by White Ra, forcing Mana to pull back just by building a pylon. He might be able to warp in some stuff. He's not going to warp in anything. It's just literally to pull all the units of Mana back to deal with that while he pushes out himself.
Yep.
And looking at White Ra's vision, he even scouted the robotic space. He knows there's a good key and a good opening to push now before the robotic space finishes, before any Colossus are in production.
Yep, his follow-up is going to be Twilight Council, so we can expect to see possibly Blink Stalker, of course, maybe going to Dark Templar play later on. But right now, on one base, Blink Stalker is perhaps the most likely thing for him. Right now, the army count is not looking amazing for White Ra, but that said, it's not looking all that great for Mana either, who's just pumped out one sentry to block the ramp by the looks of it, and nothing more than that. White Ra's just going to sit at the bottom of this ramp for the moment and try and contain his opponent. He is actually expanding in a very odd place as well. Yeah,
I mean, he knows he's behind in tech, so he has to do something to pull back, and what he's going to do is go a lot of Blink Stalkers, can snipe any out-of-position Colossus, or if Mana decides to push with just one Colossus or something, he might be able to snipe it and then run away. Meanwhile, getting an expansion up fast that he can try to crawl back into this game. Mana, though, with the probe count, 31 probes versus 27.
Yeah, he does have a slight advantage, certainly, but the little things, folks, the small things, they make the difference right here. And there's a quick rollout right here by Mana, who thinks he has got what he needs in order to make that happen.
And yeah, he's losing a lot of units here, and loses the sentry too, and White Ra falling down to 40 food, 55 for Mana. Mana now can just basically, well, he's not, I don't know, he can expand, he doesn't have to. He can push out with 1 or 2 Colossus from here. It's going to be hard for White Ra to crawl back into this one.
It really, really is. I mean, it's going to come down to Blink Stalker. That said, Blink Stalker isn't all that useful against Colossus. Colossus have very high range. Admittedly, he has not picked up the range upgrade. He hasn't even started it, in fact. So, you never know. It is a possibility. White Ra could get a shot off right there as they pass, but the Colossus will give them vision up the top, so return fire is inevitable, especially with the Observer up there as well. White Ra just blinks down at the bottom right there. You have to wonder how advisable that really was. He will throw away that pylon, and he will now try and engage against Mana in a field battle, which is probably going to go in favor of Mana, I've got to say, simply due to the fact that that Colossus is in the field. No big damage done to the Colossus as of yet. White Ra in a fighting retreat, being pushed back across the map. He's not taking huge damage, I'll give him credit for that. He is sniping off the Zealots as quickly as possible, trying to gain position on his opponent, but he is buying time right here.
Indeed, and the second Colossus comes to the fray now. Mana not expanding, he's just going to warp in a bunch of units now. He's not even going to build any more Colossus. And it's going to be pretty hard for White Ra to hold this, especially against 2 Colossus. He has Blink, but there's just too many Stalkers and Zealots of Mana here.
That is a possibility. He can still pull it off, but it's going to be very, very close indeed. He was able to snipe off a Zealot at the end right there, as you saw, but now he's coming up against the brute force approach of Mana, and there's not a lot he can really do about it. His force is split in 2, so he needs to consolidate immediately and try and do good damage. He's got more Stalkers on the way. His economy is getting back in shape, but he is still up against a massive tech deficit, and White Ra engaging immediately on the front. Some damage being done, but the Guardian Shield taking quite a lot of damage away from that salvo. That's proving to be problematic. Now the Colossus going right forward, and he's going to throw away one. Can he sentry the ramp? Can he sentry the ramp? He gets it, but it's too late. If he was a couple of seconds, that said, the Colossus would have stomped all over it anyway, so it doesn't really matter all that much. And now White Ra in a terrible position as he gets pushed back into his base with very little left in terms of his army.
And probes are being poured now, but being filtered into that small area, and it looks like Mana is going to take this game quite convincingly. And it looks like he will be able to go in to tie the series up. White Ra on his last legs now, trying to micro for his dear little heart, but he's down to 16 probes versus 31 now. More reinforcements from Mana streaming in.
Yeah, too much firepower coming down right now. He'll pull all the probes, he'll hold on for as long as he can, but there really isn't an awful lot he can do here. Mana is just drilling his way through the defenses of White Ra. There's very little left in terms of his tech. His production buildings, chrono boosted as much as they can. Additional warp-ins coming in, but he is holding up. He's only got 10 probes left versus 32, so I think White Ra knows that this is done. That said, he likes to play things out to the end and see what he can do. GG, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. And the second game in the series goes to Mana.
Tying it up to 1-1, and I'm sure we're in for an exciting series here.
Oh yes, excellent PvP from both of these guys. Always a pleasure to see them play, and we will see Game 3 very, very shortly. Folks, don't go anywhere. You're watching the Season 2 of the IGN Pro League.